18-year-old Michelle Martinko, a bright high school senior, set out for the Westdale Mall in Cedar Rapids. She was shopping for a new winter coat, something simple, something routine, but she would never make it home. Hours later, her car was found in the mall parking lot with Michelle inside. Welcome to Chilling Fireside Stories, where we dive into some of the most captivating true crime cases, ones that have haunted communities for decades and continue to raise chilling questions. Tonight, we're unraveling the tragic and haunting case of Michelle Martinko, a story that lay cold for nearly 40 years, only to reveal its dark secrets decades later. Before we begin, a quick word of caution. This case contains graphic details and disturbing descriptions that may be unsettling for some viewers. If you're sensitive to such topics, please proceed with care. To make things even more immersive, you'll find detailed images and case-related visuals at the end of the video, so stay tuned. If you're ready, grab yourself a warm drink, get comfortable, and let's dive into the mystery of Michelle Martinko's tragic story. Michelle Marie Martinko was born in 1961 to Albert and Janet Martinko in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Known for her infectious smile and vibrant personality, Michelle was a senior at Kennedy High School, where she excelled academically and participated in the school choir. With her bright blonde hair and warm demeanor, she was well liked by her peers and teachers alike. Michelle was the kind of person who seemed to light up any room she walked into. Friends described her as sweet and caring, someone with a natural gift for making people feel special. She was talented in music and dreamed of pursuing a career where she could continue her passion for singing and performing. But those dreams were tragically cut short on a night that was supposed to be routine. Friends would later recall that Michelle wasn't the type to take unnecessary risks. She was responsible, cautious, and especially close to her family. She told her parents she was headed to the mall to shop for a coat, a quick trip she expected to be home from by evening. But as the hours passed, her parents grew increasingly concerned. On December 19, 1979, 18-year-old Michelle Martinko attended a school choir banquet at the Sheraton Inn in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Afterward, she drove her family's 1972 Buick Electra to the newly opened Westdale Mall. Michelle, a high school senior, had intended to shop for a winter coat. The night should have been uneventful, but she never returned home. When Michelle didn't come back by midnight, her parents grew worried and contacted the police. Officers began searching the area and eventually found her car in the Westdale Mall parking lot, early the next morning. What they discovered inside was horrifying. Michelle's body lay in the front passenger seat, with over 29 stab wounds to her face, chest, and neck. The brutal nature of her injuries shocked investigators and hinted at a deeply personal or enraged motive. She was fully clothed and no valuables appeared to be missing, suggesting that the crime was not a robbery gone wrong. The medical examiner's report would later confirm that Michelle had defensive wounds on her hands, indicating that she had fought back against her attacker. The brutality of the attack, with most of the stab wounds focused on her face, suggested intense rage or a personal vendetta, though Michelle's family and friends couldn't think of anyone who would want to hurt her. Detectives faced an uphill battle in the search for Michelle's killer. Despite extensive interviews with friends, family members, and mall employees, they were left without any substantial leads. Over the following weeks, the Cedar Rapids Police Department brought in several individuals for questioning, including some of Michelle's male classmates and even her former boyfriend. But they were all quickly ruled out due to lack of evidence or alibis that placed them elsewhere. Investigators scoured the Westdale Mall parking lot, searching for clues that might point to the killer's identity. They found a bloody palm print on the car's exterior as well as traces of hair and fibers, but forensic science in 1979 couldn't yield much from such evidence. Cedar Rapids police launched a wide-scale investigation, even enlisting the help of the FBI. But no matter how many leads they followed, every potential path seemed to lead to a dead end. With no clear suspects and limited forensic technology, the case grew cold. Michelle's parents were devastated, and as the weeks turned to months, hope began to fade. But Janet and Albert Martinko refused to let their daughter's memory be forgotten. They remained in contact with investigators, continually pushing for updates, refusing to let her case disappear. For over 2 decades, Michelle's murder remained a mystery. Cedar Rapids police continued to revisit the case as advancements in forensic technology began reshaping investigations across the country. By the early 2000s, DNA analysis was being used to solve cold cases, and detectives hoped that the evidence collected from Michelle's car might finally lead to answers. In 2006, forensic scientists extracted a small DNA sample from the crime scene and ran it through the FBI's CODIS database, a move that investigators hoped might yield a match. But there was no match in the database, leaving Michelle's case unresolved. Finally, in 2018, investigators turned to a relatively new forensic tool: genetic genealogy. By using public databases and family trees, forensic scientists were able to trace the DNA profile left at the crime scene to a distant relative, narrowing down the list of potential suspects. This case is yet another powerful example of how new technology, similar to what was used in the Golden State Killer investigation, has brought long-awaited answers through genetic genealogy, helping to finally solve cold cases and bring justice to families. After painstaking research, detectives identified a likely suspect: Jerry Lynn Burns, a local resident who had lived near Cedar Rapids at the time of the murder. Burns was born in 1953 and was 25 years old at the time of Michelle Martinko's murder. He lived a seemingly quiet life in Manchester, Iowa, where he owned a powder coating business. At the time of his arrest, Burns was married and had children, though his wife had died by suicide in 2008, and he had no known criminal record that would suggest violent behavior. In 2018, Cedar Rapids police began to use genetic genealogy to narrow down potential suspects in the Martinko case. A blood sample left by the attacker at the crime scene was matched to a family tree constructed through public genealogy databases. After narrowing down possible suspects, investigators began to focus on Burns. Detective Matt Denlinger played a pivotal role in finally solving the Michelle Martinko case, one of Iowa's most perplexing cold cases. Detective Denlinger, a member of the Cedar Rapids Police Department, became deeply invested in the Martinko case, which had haunted the community since Michelle's brutal murder in 1979. By the time he joined the investigation, several detectives before him had meticulously gathered and preserved evidence, particularly DNA found at the crime scene on Michelle's dress and in her car. Detective Denlinger, son of an investigator who had worked on the case years earlier, saw an opportunity in advancements in forensic technology, particularly genetic genealogy, a technique that had recently gained fame for solving the Golden State Killer case. Genetic genealogy combines DNA analysis with traditional genealogy research, using public DNA databases to trace unknown profiles back to potential family members. Denlinger collaborated with Parabon Nanolabs, a genetic genealogy service, to analyze the DNA sample left at the crime scene. Through a process of elimination and building family trees, they identified Jerry Lynn Burns as a potential suspect. To confirm the connection, Denlinger and his team discreetly collected DNA from Burns by following him to a local pizza restaurant and obtaining a straw he discarded. This DNA matched the crime scene evidence, leading to Burns's arrest in December 2018, almost 39 years to the day after Michelle was murdered. Denlinger's dedication and use of cutting-edge technology exemplify how perseverance and innovation in law enforcement can finally bring long-sought justice in cold cases. His work on the Martinko case marked a significant victory for both Michelle's family and the Cedar Rapids community. During his trial, which took place in early 2020, Burns pleaded not guilty and maintained his innocence. Burns' defense team claimed the DNA evidence could have been mishandled or unintentionally transferred over the years, casting doubt on its validity. However, the DNA evidence linking him to the scene was overwhelming. The jury found him guilty of first-degree murder in February 2020, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Burns' conviction was a significant milestone for the field of forensic science, showcasing the potential of genetic genealogy in solving cold cases that had otherwise gone cold for decades. Michelle's story is one of resilience and the power of persistence, both from her family and the detectives who never gave up. For 4 decades, her case was a haunting reminder of justice denied. Today, Michelle's family can finally find some semblance of peace, knowing that her killer has been brought to justice. As we remember Michelle's life, let's also take steps to protect ourselves and our loved ones. Share your plans with others, avoid isolated areas when possible, and be vigilant in public spaces. The story of Michelle Martinko and the relentless pursuit of justice in her name is a testament to the power of perseverance and the extraordinary potential of modern technology. Decades passed, but investigators and Michelle's loved ones never gave up hope that her killer would be found. The breakthrough using genetic genealogy not only brought her family a long-awaited sense of closure but also serves as an inspiration for countless other unsolved cases awaiting resolution. Thank you for watching and following this journey with me. If you found this story compelling, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Also consider sharing this story with others to bring awareness to how cold cases can finally see justice. Let's continue to honor Michelle's memory by advocating for advancements in forensic science and never forgetting those who await answers. Until next time, as always, stay curious, stay warm, and stay safe.